Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Big story in the news right now is the death of this Navy Admiral Scott Stearney in Bahrain. Reportedly committed suicide. That's the latest detail. At first, his death was a little bit mysterious. Then it came out that it was a suicide the day after it was reported he had died. And if you saw my earlier coverage of this, I showed how his death seemed to be in connection to George Herbert Walker Bush, who died November 30th, and then this admiral December 1st. Since I put out that information, they've now released this man's birthday. He was born October 21st, 1960, dead December 1st, 2018 at age 58. And what's so interesting about that is he died 41 days after his birthday, like how number 41 was the big news story at the time of his death. Pretty much every mainstream media page looked the same when the news broke about the death of the admiral. He was a story next to the passing of Herbert Walker Bush. And just look at how it is here from CNN. George H.W. Bush's last words, remembering 41, top story, top U.S. naval commander in the Middle East found dead. Now, that's not where the riddles stop. Anytime the media emphasizes a phrase like apparent suicide, there's numbers behind it that matter. And it turns out that this man's birthday, October 21st, it connects to this phrase apparent suicide, and then it connects to something even deeper than that. Notice he went to University of Notre Dame, this same admiral, the man who reportedly committed suicide. Notre Dame having a great football season. His date of birth, October 21st, the day leaving 71 days left in the year. Apparent suicide equals 71, and so does Catholic. And if you're new here, 2 years ago, March Madness, the brackets were put out for that tournament on the 71st day of the year, March 12th. And I showed how, with the use of the number 71 and a few other riddles that were floating in the media, the college basketball championship would be North Carolina defeating Gonzaga, the Catholic school. And just real quick, Gonzaga equals 71, just like Catholic. Notice it's 71 and 35. That's just like Catholic. But Gonzaga Bulldogs is also 71. And then the other part of that riddle was the bathroom bill was a big story in the Carolinas. They'd lost the NBA All-Star game there in Charlotte because of the bathroom bill, which was about who could use the restroom, the men or the women, or the trannies. Might recall this story. And I told everybody the Carolinas would dominate the tournament. I said there'd be a lot of Carolina teams to finish high. The Final Four was full of Carolina teams. North Carolina won the men's tournament. South Carolina won the ladies' tournament. And South Carolina, their school name is the Gamecocks. But you can go back and look. They referred to that ladies' Gamecocks team as the Ladycocks all throughout the tournament. Just think about it. Ladycocks, who can use the bathroom, the men, the women, or the trannies. It's all a sick joke. And the point is, this code, it's relevant from news to sports. And like I just said, Notre Dame's football team is dominating by the numbers. Join the Patreon if you want to learn more about the sports decodes. The other thing about Notre Dame, the Catholic school, is it has Gematria 41. You see this? And we're talking about this guy whose death comes at the time of number 41, and lo and behold, he died 41 days after his birthday. And not only that, but he died at age 58. Died at age 58. And I've talked about 58 a whole lot, especially in regards to the Bush family. Bush equals 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian. Rosicrucianism gave birth to the modern Freemasonry. They're both secret societies. Secret Society 58. George W. Bush equals 58. He won the Electoral College, got 271 electoral votes. That's the 58th prime number. Again, the whole show's rigged. From the politics to the news to the sports. With regards to this man being a Navy man, Herbert Walker was a part of the Air Force, and the Navy gave birth to the Air Force. Before there was an Air Force, it was just all the Navy. So those branches of military are interrelated. Navy has gematria of 62 and 46, like sacrifice, which no doubt this man was. George Bush and Catholic also share the gematria of 46. And don't forget, there are 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. Most Bibles, there's 39 books, but in the Catholic Old Testament, there's 46 books. Also, don't forget JFK, who was the 35th president and only Catholic 35, got his head taken off at age 46, at least according to the Zapruder tapes, which were put together by a Freemason, just like how JFK was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a Freemason. So, you know, I offered a theory days ago when this news first broke about how this looked like a tribute to number 41. Now the tribute looks even more clear. And what I covered right away was that he was a U.S. naval commander, which equals 94, like how Herbert Walker died at age 94. Also, his title, Vice Admiral Scott Stearney, the same way they're spelling it in the media. You know, that's not me doing some wordplay. That's how they're reporting it. That name equals 241. 241 is the 53rd prime number. He died in Bahrain, 53. George Bush is also 53. That was the year they sacrificed their little daughter, whose name equaled 58. Notice Bahrain's also 46, like Navy, like George Bush. Again, these people don't mess around. Notice George Bush is 107. Earlier this year, Barbara Bush died on the 107th day of the year. Barbara Bush Jr. got married on October 7th by the numbers. Stearney, also 107. Stearney, also 46. See how this goes? Stearney equals 107 and 109, like military. Part of me wonders if this is even a real person. He very well could be. A lot of these Masons, Masonic military families, they know this code and they are named accordingly. You know, to some people, this is a very special practice. That's why it's so repetitive. That's why it's so redundant. It's also why it's a secret that I'm not supposed to be talking about. You know, yours truly wasn't supposed to know about this. Yours truly found out about this because I was looking for the truth and I saw something was going on in this world with numerical rituals, a seed that was planted on September 11th, the big national emergency, 911, the big mocking, which I knew it was from day one. Also, just want to talk about something that I've been overlooking all this time. I'd actually talked about this years ago, but I'd let it slip through the cracks in recent days covering the death of Herbert Walker. And again, what did I tell you guys? He died age 94 and he wouldn't make it past November. Ended up dying on the anniversary of Paul Walker, like Herbert Walker. Paul Walker, who starred in the first movie, or his first movie, The Skulls, about Skull and Bones, which Herbert Walker was a member of. In that film, he drives a red Porsche. From what we've been told, he died in a red Porsche. But anyway, Herbert Walker's nickname is Timberwolf to the Secret Service. The gematria of 147 is huge because when you write out 94, it sums to 147, like U.S. president, like president of the United States, like conspiracy, like Freemason. This is part of the reason I said he would die at age 94. Now, what I was overlooking is that when he was in the military, supposedly he was in the 147th Reconnaissance Wing and the 187th Fighter Wing. And I noticed this today looking at an older post of mine, and I said, how about that? Also, his years of service kill me too. 68, that's the year the whole 911 plan went into motion. And then until 74, the big Masonic number. But remember, this is what's crucial about his death. His father, Prescott Bush, died on his 147th day of his age. And Herbert Walker, earlier this year, there was a national headline that he was in the hospital on May 27th, the 147th day of the year. From the day of his hospitalization on the 147th day of the year, which is also Henry Kissinger's birthday, to his death was 187 days later. And from his son's birthday, George W., whose birthday is July 6th, the 187th day of the year, from his son's birthday to his death was 147 days later. A little too perfect, don't you think? Again, if you missed the past videos on the death of Prescott Bush and how when Prescott Bush died, it was 118 days after excuse me. When Prescott Bush died, it was 94 days after George Walker Bush's birthday, George W. And it was 118 days after George Herbert Walker Bush's birthday. And remember, George Herbert Walker Bush equals 118. So again, all throughout history, it's been the same patterns. Tomorrow, December 5th, is going to be the National Day of Mourning for George Herbert Walker Bush. Again, this is how all the ciphers come together. 253 is the 22nd triangular number. George Herbert Walker Bush died on a date with 79 numerology, the 22nd prime, just like how Paul Walker died 79 days after his birthday. Call that the murder number 79. That's how we predicted the celebrity death on September 7th, which ended up being Mac Miller. So anyway, all throughout history, the same repetitive patterns, family members dying by the same code. Watch that movie, The Skulls. You live by the code, you die by the code. That's the motto, right? So with 187 on the brain, let's talk about Robert Mueller. Remember, Robert Mueller equals 187. Investigation equals 187. Washington, D.C. equals 187. George Washington equals 187. How appropriate that George W. is born on the 187th day of the year, George W. Bush. And when George Washington died, he died on December 14th, 187. Right out 12/14, it even sums to 187. And again, the headquarters of Freemasonry, etched on that building is Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187. And the Bush family, they have their portraits up on the wall inside that building. Washington, D.C. used to be controlled by the Jesuits. It used to be the Catholic colony, why it's between Virginia and Maryland. The official name of the Jesuits is the Society of Jesus, 187. From Trump's birthday, who's a Jesuit and a Mason, to the Pope's birthday, who's the first publicly Jesuit Pope, is a distance of 187 days. Remember when Trump ran for office, he had his GOP convention begin July 18th, 18/7, a span of 187 days from Inauguration Day. Society of Jesus is also 79, like how Bush died on a date with 79 numerology. And then there seems to be a Catholic element. The Jesuits are in the Catholic Church, a major Jesuit Catholic element with the death of this admiral, who might very well be a Catholic himself. But anyway, this whole Robert Mueller investigation has been a show by the numbers, every detail. I've probably made, who knows, at least 50 videos on Mueller headlines. And here's the latest. Flynn has given substantial assistance to the special counsel. Everything about Michael Flynn's been by the numbers. Everything about Michael Flynn's son's been by the numbers. Michael Flynn and Michael Flynn's son even became part of the Pizzagate psyop. But anyway, notice substantial assistance sums to 59, like Michael Flynn in the Most Pure cipher. Like how Freemasonry sums to 59 in Hebrew and in English. 59 is the 17th prime. Modern Freemasonry began in 1717 in London, England. Notice Michael Flynn, 59 and 58, like Freemasonry's 58 and 59. And this news comes the day before his birthday. This is a big update in the internet world because for years, Michael Flynn hasn't had a birthday anywhere. In fact, this is the first time I've checked to see if Michael Flynn's birthday was up. And it was. So the news comes the day before Michael Flynn's birthday. But better than that, from Mueller's birthday to this news comes 119 days later, and that's what Mueller investigation equals. 119, like all-seeing eye equals 119, like Donald and Jewish gematria equals 119. Like Donald Trump talking to Digital Sheep 11 and 9 in Pillars about being born for the job in a commercial that was meant to mock us all. About the rigged election for this man. Again, the elections are rigged for all of them. This whole nation. It's the Masonic military dictatorship puppet show. If you've never seen this commercial for Serta mattresses from 2009, go watch it. It'll blow your mind. This last sheep looks at the camera and says, "Where's your dignity?" no doubt talking to the Trump supporters. And don't forget that Trump, became the president during the time of the hit show House of Cards, where Trump card is card terminology. And the president in that show is called Francis 119, Underwood 119. And notice Underwood's also 47, as is Francis, as is president, as is White House, as is government, as is authority, as is Republican, as is Whig, as is Democrat, as is DC, as is Trump, as is Ivanka Trump, who has a cartoon about her by The Simpsons where she runs for president in the year 2028, which is the year she turns 47. So to think it's all a coincidence is to, deceive yourself. To believe in any movement that's promoting Trump as the antidote to the New World Order is to deceive yourself. Don't forget, Donald Trump was announced as the president-elect on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Mr. Wall, Mr. I want to build a wall. Anyway. It's late. I wasn't supposed to be making videos at this hour, but it is what it is. The truth's got to get out there. Thank you to everyone who got the book. Had a record day in book sales. Literally the best day ever. What's funny is at this exact moment, there was just a sale right now. We're now at 79 sales for the day. One more and we'll be at 80. So thank you, everyone, helping get up the number. We got to get that sales number to 10,000 books sold to get this thing in print. And the book definitely needs to be in print. Also, for those of you who are subscribed to the Patreon, going to have a really great guest on tomorrow. This time the guest will be great. They're going to teach us something about astrology in regards to the death of Herbert Walker. So looking forward to that very much. Had a great conversation with this man. His motto is each one teach one. And that's my motto too. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Have a great rest of your day, your evening, depending on where you are in the world. Be back tomorrow. Till next time.